Hey everyone, this is Saeed. I spent 13 years as a VP building revenue teams from scratch, pretty much scaling everything across multiple different B2B SaaS companies. I'm building my own company called Zorda and also helping founders fix a revenue where it's broken, sales processes that don't scale, customer success teams that are stuck in reactive mode, hiring decisions that blow up 6 months later, something that I've actually dealt with quite a lot. So this podcast is for people who are actually looking to build things, not just talking about them. We skip the guru bullshit and get right into what's really working, what's not, and why most advice you see on LinkedIn is useless. So today I got actually two of the people who were the inspiration for this podcast were actually reactivating my podcast. I'm talking to Barbara Derkowska, Fractional CMO and growth advisor for early stage B2B tech SaaS companies. She's not an agency. She told me that much, but more of a partner for those wanting a marketing leader, but not ready to commit to a full-time person just yet. And also with me, Wiktor Sobolak, head of product at Text, a company that I used to work at back in the olden days when they were called Live Chat. Guys, I'm super excited to have you on the show. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, absolutely. I know we wanted to do this in person, but scheduling conflicts and I'm flying out tomorrow. But I owe you that dinner and a drink. So I'm hoping that I get to Wrocław and we'll do this in person. I think the audience will love that. I want to start off just like very quickly. I want to start off by saying thank you for one hell of a job that you have done organizing the Growth Meetup in Wrocław. It is hands down one of the best events that I've been to in the past few years. Really have been. I've attended a few and no event in Poland comes close to what you guys are doing. I want to thank Nick Griffin for the recommendation, but I highly, highly recommend for those of you who live in Wrocław or near Wrocław, this is a must to check out. The level of energy you guys put out, the content, the people you bring in, and the heart and soul that you put into it, it is visible. You guys have done one hell of a job. So thank you so much for the invite there. I really appreciate it.
You only have to thank me again for recommending you as a speaker.
Absolutely. It was just happenstance. I was talking to him, like, you gotta attend that event. I was like, what's that event? But I'm really glad I did because I got to meet two very fantastic people. People I respect. You guys and your experience is, for me, pretty staggering and animated, which is why I wanted to invite you here as my first ever episode as I do with people. So apologies for any erratic behavior as we try to tone this down, but I really appreciate having you guys here. I guess my first question, let's dig right into it, is where did you get the idea for the event?
Oh, it's like, the history goes back to 2018, actually. So I think we told the story on every single meetup we did so far, but let's also tell it to the people who haven't heard yet. So basically the meetup started as a group of friends, if I can call it this way. Like, some of us were early in our careers, we're just trying to figure out how to do our jobs, maybe talk about our bosses or, the next gold strategy we want to go and check. And basically we met in one of the offices and I guess like there's this history. Maybe Wiktor can tell a bit more how the small group of people transform into a bigger event.
Yeah, basically, as Basia mentioned, we're meeting each other to learn from each other, but also to complain. What the hell is not working in our company's ways are working, and then get some perspective from different tech folks around here in Wrocław. But at some point, I believe we get bored of ourselves. Like, we start to know every detail about our work, and we really need a fresh perspective. So I believe it was after the COVID, we you, Basia, started this really unofficial, like a beer meetup. And then there was like, okay, but let's keep the original form. We want to have some content here, want some people talking about the stuff that they've done, like really good case studies. So it's really important. Like, everyone who become a speaker, they supposed to bring a case study with the numbers, with the meeting there. And we actually, I believe the first meetup was Jake with Surfer, if I'm correct, in their kitchen. And we really like this kitchen vibe. Like, there was like 30 people that were invited from our network, but also from network of people we know. So it was already some good faces. And we actually really like that vibe, and we found, hey, this is good. Like on the one hand, you can meet the people that have a really interesting perspective on the stuff you are working on, can help you solve problems. So there's a good networking. And it was random people. Like we always were really careful on who can attend this, because we didn't want this to be like a big conference that you get a lot of noise out there. So we actually want people that do the stuff. And we started from there. Anything Basia, you want to build on?
No, I think like that's a really good story of the second half of what we did in the past. And I think the meetup that you joined, Site, was actually even a level higher for all of us. That was the biggest event we did so far. The biggest event, but also the most innovative. We picked different forms we've never done before, but it still stayed close to what we intended at the very beginning, to give value, to bring people to one event, connect different people, but maybe not different people, but connect people who do similar jobs but in different companies. And I think we managed to do it quite well. Even though we learn, like every meetup is different. One happens in a kitchen, as Wiktor said, and we only have peanuts to eat. Another one is a bit more fancy, and we have like a solid dinner to everyone who comes. So it really depends. Vibe can be different, but what we always hear is that the atmosphere and the meat, and what stands behind meat, is basically this unique insights and knowledge that people share. We got it in the last survey that we did. I think like 4 different people mentioned this is the most meaty event they've been to, which is a great feedback to get.
Yeah, it was fantastic, and I really had a great time just being there, talking to people. I guess my question, kind of like diving deeper into the event, is that as this event will grow naturally, how do you make sure that you stay true to your DNA, which is what got you there, which is what makes this interesting? The fact that you have very short speeches, keynotes, and right after that, you can do a 1-hour roundtable. My favorite part of the whole thing, where I can interact with people and just talk about different things, which is pretty valuable. Have you thought about that? Like, how do you stay true to that DNA? How does it evolve from here?
We'll see how it's gonna go from there, because like with every event, we're in the biggest scale we ever been ever. So, but I think what we try to do, because we haven't scaled for a while, like we're having really small events for the 2 years until we learned what is good, what is not. It's like getting your first customers. You don't want to get too many customers to your product. You want to have enough customers to get the feedback and really build this product market fit. So I feel that's what we're doing. And I feel we're getting to the moment where we start to understand what's really strong part of the event. Like you as a speaker having 3 rounds of the feedback, what you should change in your presentation to make it more like focus on the content, don't over advertise yourself, etc. I know it was annoying, but we heard from all of the speakers that we're the most verifying, checking, feedbacking event ever. Yeah,
Quality
exactly. But in the end, it pays off. Like most of the presentations and keynotes that people have are getting like 8 out of 10. We got some like that's having course, but it's rare, and we prefer to get you annoyed at us, but this is like, thanks to it, the audience will get the higher quality of the content.
Absolutely. I mean, I was on the train when you told me to do the last edit. I was literally just, traveling from Warsaw to Wrocław. And one of the things that came to my mind was like, not the fact that, I mean, this is annoying. It's like, it's the first event that I've participated in. I've participated in a few where I've been a keynote speaker, where somebody's really rigorous about the fact that, what I say to the audience actually gives a lot of value and it's not fluff. So kudos on that. It's a great job. I really love it. And like I said to everyone, this is a must have to attend. I mean, if you're there, in or around Wrocław. I hope that you branch out because we could definitely use it in different cities. But I loved it. But so thank you for the job that you guys are doing, and I hope you continue to do it. Um, I guess I want to talk to you a little bit about your journeys in your respective fields. Victor, you deal pretty much primarily with product. I suck with product, even though I'm trying to build my own product. Basia, you deal with a lot with marketing, something that I know nothing of. So I guess I'll start with you. What was the moment you kind of realized you wanted to specialize in B2B SaaS marketing? And I guess, Victor, for you, the question would be the same, but for product.
Think like I was thinking about it before our meeting, like when was the actual start in my career when I first thought about marketing. And I think it goes back I think it goes back to school when I had my first blog, when I used to write newspapers. And so I think that was me falling in love with the power of words. And this is where it all started. And then as I went through my career, I started joining different organizations. I used to be a scout when I was younger, so I learned how to be a leader. And then I worked in a global NGO, so I learned all the different aspects of building an organization. But it was always just fun and not really business. Rather how to work with other people, how to manage. But I was learning business as I was doing this. I learned after all of these experiences. But what really made me into marketing was my job at Brand24. So after I finished my bachelor, there was this lovely job ad on Facebook back then. Brand24 was looking for a social media manager. I didn't know I wanted to be a social manager back then, but I definitely wanted to work for a great company, and I heard only good things about Brand24. So that was like a no-brainer. And thankfully, I got in, and this is how my marketing and business journey started. However, at some point, I also thought about HR. I loved working with people and all this leadership I had experiences, all these leadership experiences I had in the past and experiences of building teams in NGO. It brought me into maybe that could be something for me to go into. But I think somebody gave me a recommendation. If you want to do something bigger, or if you want to go and like break stuff, maybe experiment more, go to marketing, because this is where nothing is sure. Everything changes, but also there's more things you can grow into. And this is also what I learned after I went to different roles. And I think this is true that from marketing, you can go to product, to growth and beyond.
Yeah, I can relate to that. I mean, I think I was talking to Mick. He went from sales to marketing. I don't think he's coming back to sales ever again. So I kind of feel envious, and I do fully understand the fact that you can break a lot of things. The net's a lot wider. Sales is pretty specific, very niche. So I fully understand that. This is perfect. Wow. What about you, Victor?
So I just want to start that if you want to break stuff, try to do some backend work. Breaking stuff there is even more fun. So I actually wasn't starting in the product. I also started in marketing. Although Basia was inspired about the marketing, I went into marketing because of the anger. So I was angry at two things in my life when I was studying. So first I was angry at my studies because I was doing the energy engineering in University of Technology, and I really hate the fact that it was mostly theoretical, and then it was pretty outdated. So mostly focused on coal, not really future-proof sources of energy. I didn't see my future in that. So that was the first thing for me to redesign my life. The second is I was angry because I couldn't breakdance anymore. Actually, before I start my tech career, I want to be a professional breakdancer, which failed due to an injury.
I didn't.
But then,
I didn't either. I mean,
that was the only reason.
Please share videos.
No, I wasn't that good. Although I loved it. But I wasn't good. It's when you're grinding at something you shouldn't grind. Although it was a lot of fun. And I went to this University of Technology just because I was good at math at school. So I didn't know what I want to do. So let's do engineering. And then after I get singer, I started to thinking through first principles on my life and what should I do. And I realized that there's two things that's gonna be true for a long time. The first is that every company needs a marketing. Like it's one of the pillar of the companies. There are like heavy investment in that. I can shape myself in that area. The second is that marketing was becoming more and more number focused. So as I was good at math, let's do and marketing, and that's how I ended up in the paid ads and web analytics. And only from there, I have turned at some point to a growth manager, doing a lot of experimentation. And from the growth, I actually finally started getting inspired about what I want to do. And that's why 5 or 6 years ago, I started my shift toward the product where I'm right now.
That's super interesting. I guess you bring up a pretty important a question, a topic, something that I discuss with my family quite a lot. I have a lot of young people in my family, 17, 18, 16. And they look at me and they go, well, Saeed, he's doing well for himself. He went to university. Should I go to university? You talk about marketing, that it's just theoretical. And now in 2025, heading into 2026, what is your recommendation? Should people go to university if they want to choose a path of marketer or being a product person? Does that really help? Or you kind of feel like that there are other better resources out there where folks can just put their energies into? I know it's a little bit of a philosophical question baked in with practicality.
It's very relevant.
But I'm just curious, I'm assuming in Poland it's 3 years, 3.5, 4 years of education. If you do masters, that's another 2 years added on top. What do you do? Is there a better way? Is there another resource that folks can look into, or education is the only way to kind of catapult you or yourself into a marketing or a product role?
Very, very strong opinion about it. So I can start. I would still recommend go to the university, but maybe for a slightly different reason. Go to the university to meet other people, to try things, experiment, go and join a student organization, or go and even if you don't finish, you still go to a place where there's a group of young people wanting to do something with their lives, which is a very inspiring place. I'm not saying you have to pick a specific topic. You don't even have to finish this. Maybe that's not the best thing to say if they're listening to this, but the most important thing is to go and try it. And then make sure you have all of this extra activities you can have at uni. However, university is not for learning. You still have to do the learning yourself. So if you do an online course, if you read books, if you join communities, if you speak with other people, it still can give you more benefit of learning if you do the online, because you have to do the actual work of learning. And the best way of learning is obviously doing things. So what I really enjoyed about how I approach my studies, I always try to do something that was learning, but also then practicing. That's why when I was doing my bachelor, I also joined NGO. So I could, whatever I learned, I could then put it into work and really, really get this experience. And then the same with masters. I only went for the master degree because I went to digital marketing myself and wanted to basically learn and then practice. However, I'm also a great believer in lifelong learning, so it shouldn't stop at university. It shouldn't start and stop at university. You still need to go and make yourself be interested in something. If you're curious and interested, doesn't have to be uni. It just should be something that makes you excited about learning. So for me, it was uni. I think that's the easiest thing, especially in this part of the world, where we have a benefit of going and studying. You can do it for free in this country, so this is a great benefit. But if this is not an option for you, maybe you're in a different part of the world. Go and find other people and just interact. Don't sit in front of a computer and just you and no community.
Yeah, I'll get to you in just a minute, Wiktor. I guess I just wanted to kind of probe a little bit in that, Basia, what you just said. I think my fear for the future is for the next generation or the young folks is that because of how reliant we are on in tech, computers, AI, a lot of the folks' life is just going to be behind a computer or a laptop screen, which is a little bit scary considering that. I mean, while it's not the most healthiest thing in the world, I think we were talking just before we started the show about remote work, how this is not for me. I want human interaction. Like, I genuinely want to talk to people because I feel like when you talk to people, you learn a lot. You learn a lot, and there's
Yes.
just so much that I don't know in the world. And what resonated with me is what you talked about, lifelong learner, and that can only happen when you're talking to people. Because if you're just consuming YouTube content or Instagram and TikTok and what have you, that's a very slippery slope down a very dark, rabbit hole where you're not interacting with people. So I think university is a perfect
When
chance
you
for that.
Yes. And when you don't interact with people, you also don't get feedback. When you don't get feedback, you cannot learn.
Yeah, because I guess like with screens, it's one way, right? Unless you're using
Yes.
LLM as your therapist, which I highly not recommend. I guess it's a
Yes, you have-
it's a pretty negative thing. But yeah, that's a very, very excellent point. What about you, Victor?
If you would ask me 7 years ago if you need a degree, I would definitely say no. I have now much more nuanced opinion, but this is actually my story. Like, I was angry at this university because there was too much theory and not much practice. And I think what Basia said is really important, that you should start doing stuff, like whatever you want to try. Like, let's try it. Start building something. Especially now, building is 10 times easier than it was ever before. So
Right.
I actually like switch around, and I decided that first I want to do the practical work. That's why I went to this agency after I abandoned the university. But then I was still studying, but only on the weekends. So I didn't want to waste my weekdays when there was like my prime time. And I think that setup gave me really a lot when I was having a lot of practical approach marketing in a daily job, but then during the weekend, you still learn a lot of fundamentals that you can make your work better. And if you combine theory with the practice, that's much better effect. Now my opinion is more nuanced because I'm even considering myself going to the MBA at some point in the future, just because I feel that there's still some knowledge that you cannot get without a lot of theory before, like a lot of, I know, even this power engineering I was studying, or being a medical or going to the medical school, you cannot get that from the courses. You cannot get that from just like cutting people. You're not gonna become surgeon just by just like getting. Can't do that. First of all, it's illegal. But you need to get that theory from somewhere. So I think I would still recommend that, but what I would recommend before even going to study, like even during the high school, try build stuff and see what you're finding this energy from, where you get inspired, because that's gonna point you to the studies that might be giving you 10x better outcomes than like I didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
That's why I went to engineering school.
Yeah. You're giving me some strong deja vu vibes because while I was having my lunch today, I was watching a video of Jonathan Weaver doing a Stanford. He was at the Stanford Business School. He was talking to the class of 2024 graduates. And one of the things he said was like, don't follow your passion, follow your energy. And he started to probe deeper into that. What you talked about is that follow your passion. It's like assuming you only have one passion. Your passion changes as you grow in life. Your interests change. But if you follow your energy, you're going to find something interesting that you're going to want to do. That for you could be building, for Bash could be marketing, for you could be event organizing, for me could be talking to people. And if you follow more of that, you see that you radiate that type of energy out and positive just comes to you. You become kind of like a magnet or a conduit that attracts that positive energy from the universe. So it resonates quite a lot with what you said. Is spot on, really interesting. I want to ask you a few more questions, just probing a little bit on this step. I kind of look back at my life. I'm at this stage where it's kind of like a weird midlife crisis / trying to figure out like how can I do better. And I look at the episodes that I recorded, a few years ago. I think, oh my God, what a noob. I look at the articles that I wrote, such garbage. I look at the keynotes that I gave. Oh my Lord, what is this kid being so cocky about? He should be more humbler. So there's a lot of things that I look back and I just cringe. That's one of the reasons why I don't have social media, because I don't have the capacity to look back and cringe at myself so hard. So I guess kind of like tying it back to your careers. What is like, uh, what would you say is a misstep early on in your career, hiring, strategy, execution, whatever you might want to talk about, that you look back on and cringe, but also something that you really learned from and kind of like shaped your life in a lot of ways?
To be
Basia, you
honest,
want to start?
everything is cringe. I just wanted to comment on what you said, that this is great that you feel this way, that you are like ashamed and feel like,
Yeah.
oh, this is so bad. I hope nobody finds that on the
Right.
internet, because it means you started early. You haven't waited, and I think there's this thing that goes, if you are not ashamed of your like the MVP of your product, like you started too late. And I really believe you can use this to anything in life. So if you are not ashamed of your, let's say in my case, um, the first blog post I wrote or a newspaper I
Right.
published, the first team I led and how I did it, the first campaign or first mistake in an email, every marketer did at least
Oof.
once. Then
Hello, first name.
yeah, the, probably that was too late, and I rather feel I hope nobody finds what I did in the past,
Yeah.
because it's gonna be funny. It just makes me feel good that that was early enough, and I like made lots of mistakes, writing, working with people, and trying different roles. There's this I have this anecdote. When I worked at Brand24 and was still working in office, there was this thing going on, I think like 10 years ago, and somebody from the office, I'm sure they know who I'm talking about, found my old photo when I was a scout, and they like put it on my screen. And I was like so embarrassed, but then I was like, wait, why am I embarrassed? Like I should be proud
Yeah.
that I had such a great memories in the past. So if somebody did this to me right now, even though I work at home, they'll probably like put screenshots of my first emails, screenshots
Yeah.
of what I wrote on Slack when I was first time leader, and that was terrible. But yeah, still these are all learnings and experiences, and we shouldn't feel
Yeah.
ashamed of them. Rather proud of every mistake that build the people that we are right
Yeah.
now.
Well, it couldn't possibly as bad as my blonde hair, because I was a huge Slim Shady fan. And somebody actually found it on the internet. I don't know how they did it, but they did a pretty good job considering I have no social media. But it is something very hard to look back and explain to your children, like, Daddy, why do you have that? Daddy also was a kid. So I fully understand what you mean. What about you, Victor?
I really like the two things here. So first, you were blonde. I was also blonde for some time, not like by design. I was a lifeguard in US for like few months,
Oh,
and
wow.
from the sun and salt, you got your hair blonde. And actually, it was pretty cool if you're like really tan. Not anymore. Like I'm too old for that. The second thing I really like what Basia said, and like talking about the shame. I think that if you are not feeling ashamed looking back, that might mean you are not progressing. Because like you need to put yourself out there to learn something. And I really laugh at this Hello First thing, because like early in my career, I was working the outbound marketing startups, this agency, and we're doing a lot of outbound. So Hello First Name was like a really common mistake we've done way too many times. And like every time, this is not in your name. You're doing this in the name of your client. So you feel 10 times worse about yourself. How could you done such a thing? And there was even more like, even like sending the email to everyone in CC instead of BCC, so like they can start talk to each other. You haven't made those. let them throw the stone. But if you want to, like, I was also thinking about the biggest mistake, and not on a specific in particular, but what I've done pretty often in the past is I was like, always want to grow. Like, I want to have big outcomes, and that made me sometimes over focus on the big goals, big bets, without much focusing on building incremental value in iterations.
Yeah.
Like, the first work is needle moving work, and this is especially important right now in this very fast environment. But I felt I have overlooked the latter, the like building compound value with these incremental iterations. It's also super important, and cannot forget that.
Yeah. I hear you 100%. When I was researching kind of like what to ask you guys for this podcast, I kind of went through a lot of things that I feel like, and despite my energy, people tell me, like you say you have the energy, you can light up a room and everything. I feel like I get discouraged quite a lot. I really get discouraged. And if you were to tell that to anybody who knows me, that's not possible. He doesn't get discouraged. He's got an energy level of a energizer bunny from hell. So I get like question for both of you is, do you ever get discouraged? For example, after a failed product launch or a marketing campaign? You talked about the outbound campaign there, Victor. I know that people take that to heart. How do you bounce back, or how did you bounce back in these instances?
I do get discouraged. I wanted to react with like, definitely I do. I think this is also being human, that like, even if you become more senior and your roles and experience gets more, like it gets to a higher level, you're still just you. So it's normal after a failure or something that just didn't work the way you wanted. Just makes you feel a bit worse for a moment. But I guess what's really important is not to stay in this place for too long. So rather than overthinking a mistake you made, or maybe a chance you didn't go for, obviously you have to learn something, maybe like reflect for a second, but then go and do stuff again.
Yeah.
So don't stay too long in this place where when you were not growing, when you were overthinking what happened, or I think it's okay to reflect, to be discouraged, to feel, I might have done this better, might have started earlier, whatever kind of thing you were saying to yourself. But then again, speak with people.
Yeah.
Look for somebody who's not in this position right now. Maybe look for somebody who has the energy, who is motivated, who can give you ideas, or I think the energy is a good thing. Can give you something that you don't have right now, and then go and break stuff again.
Absolutely. This is pretty good advice. Victor?
I was really reflecting about that for a moment, getting discouraged. I used to have that in different moments in life, sometimes monthly, sometimes weekly, sometimes even daily. And I heard a really good podcast recently, because when you're discouraged, sometimes like you're afraid of moving forward. It's not only you get demotivated or afraid, but I was listening to this podcast with Ben Horowitz, I believe, and he said this really good advice, and I feel it might be strong connection to your soul. Sorry, it has a really strong hustle. That
Me? Hustle? No.
you should pursue a fear. Like, don't run from it. It's part of the journey. And if you're afraid of something, like, wait for a moment and reflect where it's coming from. And if you really want to have this great outcome, perhaps you should like pursue this fear. And the more often you pursue that, that's you might have better outcomes. And I have become a leader like 1 year ago, as a head of product. And I found that when you become a leader, you have this situation occurring much more often than when you were a specialist manager. I cannot imagine what it's like to be a founder, when you have this moment of fear, of scared because of what's the feedback from the market, from the customer. But like really, like I'm looking back and what I was afraid a few years ago, I'm not afraid anymore. So that's the only way to go beyond that and pursuing that.
Yeah, 100%.
And fear is great. I know it's scary, but when you think about it, from fear to excitement, there's such a short path. So what I always tell myself when something new is on the horizon, if it excites me and scares me, like in the middle, then this is a good thing.
Yeah.
So I should give it a go. If it's only exciting, I'm probably should look for something a bit more scary because it's not gonna help me grow. But if it scares me like so much, I kind of move. Then probably let's wait a little. I know some people might disagree and say if it scares you a lot, then go for it. But this like nice middle scares you and excites you is so great when making decision about your next step.
Yeah, very well put. I think what you're describing is like it's a very good litmus test for where you want to be if you're getting excited at the same time fear. Because if you don't have fear, that's just human reaction. That's your creative man-woman brain telling you that this is something it's risky, but there is room forward at the end of the tunnel. But you got to pursue it because I guess if you're in your comfort zone for far too long, we talked about you're not going to progress. You won't have anything to look back and cringe on. That's probably one of the worst things you can do to yourself, right? I started writing it down the moment you said leadership, Wiktor, because I wanted to talk a little bit about that. You guys both have had, in your respective roles, leadership titles. And one of the things that I heard, I spoke to a CEO a long time ago. He said it's very lonely at the top. I didn't really understood what he meant until I got to become a VP, managed a lot of people. And it sincerely is very, very lonely at the top because you can't be friends with people that you work. I mean, you're managing. You can be, but it's a very tough act to balance. So I'm curious to kind of like hear your thoughts on the leadership perspective. Like what leadership style works for you, and what do you think is something that people could learn and understand a little bit more about leadership? Like, is it very glamorous? People look at a CEO and they go, well, he's got 1 million followers on TikTok, 200,000 followers on LinkedIn. That sounds very glamorous, but you don't know what their day-to-day looks like. It's probably a nightmare managing all of the people. Can you talk a little bit about the leadership aspect of things when it comes to your roles?
Tough question. Not the one I was prepared for. But there are definitely a few reflections I have on that. So I wrote back to my work at DeepL. What I really seen there is what can make your people achieve great goals. So first of the learnings I get from my boss is like to fail, like allow to fail. And I've seen that work wonders. So I remember we have really disagreement about the like which market we should try to pursue. And it was like it's pretty big decision, like which market you want to go. Like you're not gonna invest $100. You're gonna invest 100,000 or even in my case it was $500,000 in terms of like what's your ad spending. And I recall him saying at the end of our disagreement, that's my opinion, but prove me wrong. And I haven't proved him wrong. She was right after all. But it has built so much understanding. Like this is what's really important. Like when you allow people to fail, you need to make sure they like reflect on that and understand, so they don't do the same from again. So what I really believe in is I believe in high ownership, and people that are tasked to do the job, they should also own the decision. Obviously, it's not like you outsource and forget. You're working with the context much more often on the guardrails, the direction they should pursue, but really allowing people to make their own judgment is probably the best way to build an efficient team in the long term. Because I've seen that at least 2 times, actually even 3 times in my career, that they have a disagreement with people, and depends on the size of the decision. Sometimes you need to override it. Sometimes you can allow to make their own judgment, and that in the long term will create a team that can deliver, understand the direction, and build this product sales. I know what's the marketing equivalent of the product sales, but will give you better results in the long term. Although I'm still learning how to be a good leader, and that's my current challenge. So I can't say much more.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. Barbara?
What I would say is that when you become a leader, and I try to lead by this, you're not getting a team. Your team is getting a leader. It's rather you serving the team serving you. And I think I went through all the experiences thinking about it, and with every team I led or worked with, I tried putting this into practice. And it is really hard, to be honest. As you mentioned, it gets lonely, especially when things don't go you want them to go, when you don't see results, or results come a bit later, when things are not that glamorous, then it gets hard. And I think in the past I practiced being a leader that's also an umbrella. Some other people I know might know this way of working. Some will say this is very unhealthy. Some will say this is actually great for the team. And the way it works is when you are a leader and there is whatever obstacle there is around your team, you can become an umbrella for your team, make sure they have everything they need to work, but they also don't get rained at when stuff gets hit, so they don't have to bother about all the challenges happening around. But I think I learned this is not the best way long term.
Yeah.
Because you still have to, like, you talking about planes right now, like you still have to remember about you, your life and your health, making sure you are taken care of so you can take care of other people. So what I would recommend to anybody who's managing a team or thinking about stepping into this role is do care about others, help them grow, but also don't forget about your own health and you doing your job and taking care of yourself as you go, because once again, it gets lonely. It's not like in every company there are like people caring about like middle management or even higher positions. Sometimes there are, but not always, especially in small companies. When you are a first-time leader, you're probably going to be left alone and you have to manage and learn yourself. So remember about your own, remember about yourself at the end. However, still, like managing a team or working with the team it's having the team, helping them grow. This is what I actually loved about working with teams, that I can start collaboration with somebody in January, and by December they're gonna be a manager, they're gonna become a senior in whatever they did, because I can help them find right opportunities or give them exciting experiences or like jobs to be done, and then they grow into somebody even more experienced and skilled.
Absolutely.
Basically, looking at people who grow is the most rewarding thing, but not always it happens. So you have to be very strong when you.
Very well put. This is
One thing that I want to build on top, you mentioned Basia being an umbrella, and that you don't always have to be that. What I found interesting in how you balance that, because on the one side you need to be an umbrella to allow your team to focus on the work, not on the politics, anything else. So sometimes that's on you. But on the other hand, being an umbrella doesn't mean that you are sugarcoating the situation. Like, and this is what I found in terms of like being alone. You not always have to be alone. And that's if you like not only admit in front of yourself, but like with your team, hey, we as a company are not in a good place. Like, and it's this whole tension, it's not coming from nowhere. Like someone made it up. That's not a thing. There is a situation on the market like XYZ, and that might be problematic for us. And if you treat your people as an adult and like have much more transparency, that's not only build the trust, but also instead of like thinking through what is happening there, why this decision is coming from the top like this, they start to think, okay, how to fix that situation. And that will make them think on the problem, and you're not alone with that. And that's super helpful. You know? So like a lot of transparency about the situation really makes the team even bonded together strong. Bonds are stronger.
And everyone can get involved, and it's not only you solving for everyone, but it's the entire team working on solving the problem that the entire team is facing. So that's very, very well put.
Yeah, I guess that's the hallmark of a great leader, right? At the end of the day, transparency and being able to get your team together, especially in a time of crisis. I do want to get into our rapid fire section. It's something I've always liked about different podcasts that do it. But before I do, I really want to ask you one question. There's abundance of knowledge outside on the internet, YouTube, AI. There are a lot of people are leveraging that. Good. What is your current approach to growth, marketing, product, specific tactics or frameworks that you use, what you have learned that most of the people get wrong from your experience?
I get one thing, and it's coming from my experience both in marketing and product. So, and it's really not related with the nowadays with the AI taking the lead, although it's making it even stronger. So, like right now, the approach is that product should take the lead in terms of like it's much easier to lose the product market fit right now. So, if you are not like building and shipping fast enough, like you might be left behind. And marketing and sales, it doesn't mean that it doesn't matter, but they need to build on to the same pace and truly eye to that. But the learning is way too many companies think about the go-to-market strategy and product in silos. And this separation, I even seen that in VCs, like feedbacking in a pitch that it's not that relevant. I disagree. Like product, especially now, is your biggest growth enabler. So what you build should be reflected in your go-to-market. If you build for the new vertical, that's where you go to market. On the other hand, it depends really on where the opportunity lays. So what's the biggest total addressable market? Which segments we should pursue? That's something that it's coming from go-to-market strategy. And it should inform your product roadmap and who you build for. So if there is no synergy, I have seen that way too often, marketing trying to build a value that is not existent in the product. Product is like not really focusing on the target group that matter for you for business where you can make revenue. Let me give you an example, like geographic expansion. On the one side, it's totally go-to-market strategy usually, but on the other hand, with some products, if you want to expand, for example, to Germany, and your target group is usually working natively, if you don't localize your product, you probably will never get those customers. Or how you design the product. I've learned this, whereas in DeepL, like what we consider a really clean product here in US and Europe, like the Apple gave us the direction long time ago. In Japan, it can be considered a dual and empty product that is considered immature and unfinished, like what we've considered clean design. So you need to adjust. And like even how you place your servers might matter. Have this example, like think about the voice bots. To have a really strong experience with the voice bot, you need the really short latency. So very technical stuff is really impacting how you talk to this bot. Does it feel natural to you or not? And if you have like your servers in Europe, but you're serving customers in Asia or in US, the latency might kill the experience. So your product need to adapt and like place your backend servers here in US and here in Asia. And this investment might pay off.
This is excellent.
What I would add to this is that when everyone is crazy about AI, like I'm actually super surprised we haven't mentioned AI yet during this podcast. But when everyone, like honestly, like everyone is crazy about artificial intelligence, yet another brilliant AI tool that's launched on the market. I think sometimes we should go back to the roots and think about authenticity, but also about the customer. You can build the best product or automate all of your campaigns, but if you forget about the problem that your customers had, or what actually they need, and how you can write or create something that will resonate with them and solve the problem they actually have, all the automation of things that doesn't make sense will not give you anything. So I would say automation is great, AI agents and making sure everything works smoothly, but just make sure you do the right thing. And we're not automating the wrong things.
Yeah.
Because it won't bring you any results
Absolutely.
at the end.
Absolutely. I mean, you mentioned something about AI, and one of the reasons why I specifically didn't want to talk too much about it, I mean, it's just so I think AI fatigue is real. Folks are just feeling it. Everything is just moving so fast in AI. I am bullish about AI. I think that's the future, but I will leave it to the experts to talk about it. And it's just so saturated right now in the market about it. I thought I could use your time to talk about some more crunchy stuff. So thank you for that. I do want to do a rapid fire round. It's pretty quick, short answers. So like 6 or 7 questions, and it goes to, of course, both these. Best advice you've ever received, business or personal?
I would say health comes first. Because when you are healthy and when your team is healthy, you are gonna grow faster. Like nothing goes when there is no health.
100%. Preach. Victor?
And for me, my boss said me once, those scrappy talks that you take on a random note app or on a notebook where you have this free 20 minutes, this can change a lot. Don't ignore them. Sometimes the best ideas are created like this, and those scrappy talks can become a new big feature, idea, strategy, whatever.
Gold mines. Absolutely. Worst advice you ignored or wish you had listened to?
A good product sell itself. It was coming from the CTO, I recall, and he built that product, so he obviously believed in that. And in other words, a great product needs no marketing. That's BS.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
And for me, it would be don't do it.
Yes.
Do it. There is like, I don't know, the next role or crazy experiment you have in mind. There are gonna be people stopping you, or even you will be stopping yourself. Just
do it.
and make it. But be ashamed, and then that's fine.
Basia is not sponsored by Nike, but good to know. What would you tell your younger self, say 5 or 7 years ago?
First, invest in Bitcoin and NVIDIA. Then dream bigger, screw opinions of others, your opinion matter, go public.
I like that, especially about NVIDIA.
I will tell myself not to worry that much about all the things that can go wrong, and embrace the fear. Embrace the fear. I think it just connects to what I said in the past. But
I love the contrast here. One ongoing challenge in your current work or generally in your industry that keeps you up at night?
How to be a leader? Go
on. Okay, sorry. Keep me up at night is learning how to do marketing different than I did in the past, because this summer I turned into a fractional CMO rather than doing this in-house. So you have to kind of like unlearn how to do things. It's you definitely know, sorry. It's different, it's still the same strategies and tactics and the same job, but it's different. You work more as a partner. So yeah, I keep unlearning and learning again.
Perfect way to go, Wiktor.
And for me, it's how to be a leader that shape and that care about his people. In other words, how to build a team that ship fast and with impact.
Powerful. Favorite restaurant, meal, or a spot in Poland that you would recommend to everyone?
Tantamen ramen with a beef tartar in Kulto, Wrocław.
No, I've never had
Absolutely
that.
top.
Well, now I know my next spot when I go to Wrocław.
Another one for me will be, this is actually my biggest secret. I'm telling you, because I think this is the time we should tell the world. There is amazing Italian restaurant called Taormina in Wrocław. It's still not that popular.
Okay.
I hope it's not gonna get too popular so I don't get a seat, but still.
Well, I'm sure when they hear about this,
You shouldn't say that then.
I'm sure they're going to dedicate a table for you. I hope this goes public. And I guess last one tool, software, or process that you swear by.
Customer first.
It's powerful.
I can second that.
Customer first. I agree. Customer first. Now in the age of AI, where everybody's focused on building, you got to focus on customer. I think you can swing that way. All right, folks. So we're towards the end of the podcast. I do want to talk a little bit about where can listeners find you? Your LinkedIn, website, community, other than the Growth Meetup, which I highly recommend everyone attend. And if you're around or near Wrocław, please take the time. It's the best event of its kind here in Poland, and I think you guys are doing a fantastic job. But where can listeners find you?
I would say the same. They can find us on the next Growth Meetup that I think might be in Q4. So you can check Growth Meetup on LinkedIn, and if you follow us, you'll get notification when the time comes. And personally, for me, it's also going to be LinkedIn. Like if somebody would like to speak and follow up on whatever I talked and shared today, I'm happy to chat.
I love it. Wiktor?
No surprise here. Find me through Growth Meetup community or through LinkedIn. That's mostly the two places I can be.
Yeah.
Except for that, not much.
Yeah, or if somebody is looking to get pointers on their presentations, please send them over to Wiktor. I hear he's pretty good at that.
So you were annoyed after all.
Annoyed. I loved it. That's just me being bitter that I have to just change things 3 times. I guess my last question, any upcoming project, launch, talk, or event that you're really excited about other than Growth Meetup?
I am excited about growing my fractional practice and working with more brands. So it's definitely my focus from Q4. But then again, in next year, I'm very hoping we do something even more scary with Growth Meetup.
Well, I know it's going to be fantastic.
Let's do scary things.
Absolutely. Wiktor?
I'm heavily focusing right now on the actual execution. So except for the Growth Meetup, there is nothing cooking. But hopefully next year, it might change.
Sounds good. Perfect. Well, folks, thank you so much for coming on. I know for me, it was really valuable. Your event is extremely valuable. Your knowledge and experience is extremely valuable. And I hope everybody gets value out of this. But yeah, share it with someone who needs to hear it. We'll see everyone next week. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yep.
Really good conversation. Thank you. See ya.
Appreciate it.